Today we're looking at blues boogie band Foghat, and I'm going to look at their 1970s albums. Their first one came out in 1972, all the way through 1979's Boogie Motel, and going to rank those. That includes 8 studio albums and 1 live album. Now, Foghat formed in London, England in 1971. They were an offshoot out of the popular British band Savoy Brown. 3 of the guys, Dave Peverett, better known as Lonesome Dave on lead vocals and also lead guitar, along with Tony Stevens on bass. And then they recruited Rod Price, who was playing with a band called Black Cat Bones, and they formed Foghat. Why Foghat? Well, supposedly the name was created out of a Scrabble game. It was just a nonsensical name they created, and they thought it would make a good name for a band. In fact, if you look at the back of their debut album, which came out in 1972, you'll even see a drawing of a Foghat character. Well, Foghat's still performing today, doing quite a few road dates, actually. Roger Earl, the only original member. But today we're going to rank the output of the band from the 1970s. And last on my list, probably my least favorite of those, I'm going to rank it number 9, and that is Boogie Motel. Boogie Motel came out in 1979, and it just, to me, kind of lacked any real punch. I didn't like the production on it. I thought the production was very hollow. The songs weren't all that great either. In fact, it's not a good sign when the best song on the album is a cover version, and that's Somebody's Been Sleeping in My Bed, which was a 1969 100 proof Aged in Soul kind of obscure cover. Now, they did have a little single success with the cut Third Time Lucky, First Time I Was a Fool, which was an obviously designed for radio airplay single. Also Coming Down with Love, Paradise Alley, Boogie Motel, the title cut, Love in Motion, and Nervous Release. Definitely my least favorite of the 70s albums of Foghat. Next up, in at number 8, you might call it their second self-titled album, because it didn't say rock and roll anywhere on it, but that's what people knew it by because, well, it's got a picture of a rock and a roll, right? So Foghat 2, or Foghat the second self-titled release, or Foghat Rock and Roll, whatever you want to call it, in at number 8. And this actually was a pretty good album with songs like Ride, 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 I Feel So Bad, Long Way to Go, A Helping Hand, Road Fever, which was a big concert song for the guys. Also, She's Gone, Couldn't Make Her Stay, Rock and Roll, or the second self-titled Foghat album. In at number 8 on my album ranking of output by Foghat during the 1970s. Well, Foghat released 2 albums in 1974. You know, groups would do that from time to time in the 70s. And then as time went on, you'd have to wait a year or 2 to get a new album from a band. But 2 albums in 1974 for Foghat. One of those was Rock and Roll Outlaws. In at number 7. A follow-up to their excellent Energized album, which we'll talk about a little bit later, but still a really strong album, 8 Days on the Road, cover version there, Hate to See You Go, Dreamer, Trouble in My Way, title cut, Rock and Roll Outlaw, along with Shirley Jean, little 50s rock and roll sound to that, Blue Spruce Woman, and another great concert song by the band Chateau Lafayette, 59 Boogie, and Rock and Roll Outlaws. And by the way, that plane on the picture, as a kid, I always thought that was so cool. I thought, hey, Foghat's got their own private plane. No, not really. They just had a decal made, borrowed a plane, and put the decal on the plane to take a picture beside it. Remember record clubs? As a kid, I was in 2 or 3 different record clubs, and the deal was you got like 12 records, tapes, whatever you collected, even 8 tracks, for a penny, and then you had to agree to buy a certain number of those at regular club price, which was more than records normally were. I mean, you'd pay more to pay a regular club price than you would if you just bought it at a store. But that was the deal. So I got all 7 of Foghat's first studio albums as part of a record club deal. And that's kind of how I got into the band. As we count down their top 9 70s releases, 8 studio and 1 live album, and we are down to number 6 out of 1976, Foghat and Night Shift, produced by Dan Hartman, who was with the Edgar Winter Band and also had quite a big 80s hit, kind of a dance song called I Can Dream About You. Well, he produced this album for Foghat, and this was on the heels of their huge 1975 album, Fool for the City, which had the song that they're probably best known for, Slow Ride. So they were really trying to back that up with another strong release. And this isn't a bad album. It isn't as good as Fool for the City, but it's got great tracks on it, like Driving Wheel. That was a radio hit. Don't Run Me Down, Burning the Midnight Oil, Night Shift, also Take Me to the River, an excellent cover of that Al Green soul classic. I'll Be Standing By, New Place to Call Home. Night Shift, the first Foghat album to include bass player Craig McGregor in the lineup. Going through the top Foghat albums from the 1970s, which includes 8 studio releases and 1 live album. And we're in the top 5 now. And at number 5, I have their debut. What a strong debut out of 1972. And this was really their calling card. After listening to this record, you knew the direction that Foghat was going to take. As I said earlier, they were from the British blues boogie band Savoy Brown. And sure, they still had a lot of that British blues boogie to them, but just kind of a heavier mix to it. Like on this album, Great Cuts, the single, I Just Want to Make Love to You. Trouble was on this. Maybelline, a great cut called Sarah Lee. And also, as I told you earlier, the Foghat. There is the drawing of the Foghat character. Now, that was not to become like something that would be on all of their albums. In fact, I believe this is the only Foghat album that has that Foghat cartoon character on it. Number 4 on my list of top Foghat releases of the 1970s got to be Energized. Out of those early albums, this is probably my favorite. Just a great rock and roll record. This is one I just really enjoy. Every single song on this one. Honey Hush, Step Outside, Golden Arrow, Home in My Hand, Wild Cherry. They do a cover of Buddy Holly's That'll Be the Day, Fly By Night. No, not the Rush song, of course, a different one. And Nothing I Won't Do. A great album, Energized. Out of their first 3 records, I think this is probably the strongest out of 1974, and number 4 on my list of top Foghat releases of the 1970s. And we're into the top 3, and really, these could trade places at any given time. I love all 3 of these albums. In at number 3 is Fool for the City out of 1975. And if you were around the mid-70s, everybody had this record. It was all over the radio. Of course, the title cut, Fool for the City. The big hit, Slow Ride, My Babe, Drive Me Home, Take It or Leave It, Save Your Lovin' for Me, Terraplane Blues, Foghat, Fool for the City, and just that great album cover art as well. In at number 3 on my list of top 70s albums by Foghat. Foghat released 8 studio albums in the 70s and, yes, 1 live album. It was killer. 1977's Foghat Live. This was a really popular album and, of course, had the die-cut sleeve where you could pull out and see the band members' great album cover art. That's one thing that's really cool about getting a vinyl album, isn't it? Foghat Live, Fool for the City, Home in My Hand, I Just Want to Make Love to You, Road Fever, Honey Hush, Slow Ride. Only thing about this album, it would have been cool if it was a double album. And maybe that was part of its appeal. It leaves you hoping there was more. Foghat in the 1970s, that's what we are talking about. And go ahead and leave what your recommendations are. What's your list? What do you think the top Foghat albums of the 1970s were? In at number 1, my favorite. It is Stone Blue. Still, never get tired of listening to this album. Stone Blue, Sweet Home Chicago, their killer take on that Easy Money, Midnight Madness. It Hurts Me Too, another great blues cut. High on Love, Chevrolet, great car song there, and Stay With Me. This got to be my number one. What about you? Foghat and Stone Blue. Go ahead and leave your list below. Make sure to subscribe to the channel, and thanks for watching Music Meanderings.
Right.